might remember this guy, Oscar Pistorius. He was the first person to qualify and compete in the Olympics with these running blades. This was a moment that got a lot of people talking about what's fair and what's not in sports. You might not know him yet, but that's Blake Leeper. He qualified for the Olympics 8 years after Pistorius, but he wasn't allowed to compete.
I had the fifth fastest time in the world against able-bodied athletes, which qualified me for the Olympic Games, and then I was abruptly stopped. I had to take my case to the Court of Arbitration of Sport.
The Olympics had allowed Pistorius, but they now wanted to revisit the rules. Should running blades be allowed? If you let people wear glasses for shooting, meaning they can correct a disability that they have, aren't prosthetics the same? And how do you decide what's a correction and what's an enhancement? Turns out, tests. A lot of tests.
Put dots on my blades to see the spring compression, to see like what type of energy return are we getting out of the prosthetic legs, and how does that compare to somebody who have their legs.
Researchers found that Blake's prosthetic legs made him no faster at sprinting or gave him better endurance, but they did make him worse at accelerating and rounding curves. Then the opponent's side argued that prosthetics are lighter and they don't require any of the body's oxygen. It was seeming like a toss-up. But the
one thing that they got me on specifically was called the MASH rule, max allowable standing height.
The Olympics didn't use this rule for Pistorius, but now they decided Blake couldn't compete because his blades made him taller than he would be naturally. But Blake was born without the bottom part of his legs. He has never had a full height naturally with his legs. They calculated it using measurements from other parts of his body to tell him what his height would theoretically have been. And to make matters worse, those calculations were based on only small studies of white and Asian men. But the whole idea of using averages for athletes is tricky. Most people's wingspan is roughly their height, but Michael Phelps' wingspan is 3 whole inches taller than he is. That's part of what makes him so great. But in the end,
they said, this is the rules that said, we're sorry, Blake, but you have to drop your legs by 6 inches.
And changing your height is not the same as changing your swimsuit.